All right, Ultimate Noops Nation. I'm Aaron Wimsett, Sonny and Aaron. This is the good and the bad and the ugly. How you doing today?
I'm good, even though we lost. I'm good.
We'll get you guys later. Let's start with the good. The Guerrillas. We'll talk more about their game this week later, for obvious reasons.
First options for the good. The Warriors won, so I'm happy with them. That 2-0 start. Timberwolves got the number 1 draft pick, first time ever. Those are the 2 high points. I'll just start those off. I say them got a big win last night over the Squires, ranked where they're 7, 8.
Somewhere, yeah, 7 or 8. Yep.
So that's a big win for them. They need a third win to try to get a spot in the playoffs, since it's deep with 36 teams. I would say that's huge.
It's going to be tough. They play Red Show 2.0 next week, who's ranked number 5, I believe. They'll have to play an exact duplicate of their game this week.
I would say the plus to that is the Ridge Show. I would say 3 of their games has been against the Broncos, who's 1-6, the Squids, and who's last minute. So they haven't really played anybody to be a force. So the only thing I can think of is they'll look at them's record, come out lackluster, and them could sneak one.
So then the good fellas, also, their win wasn't that impressive, but if you consider how they started out, I think they started out 1-3. Now they're 4-3, so they've turned things around. They beat the Crusaders by 1. Josh Hoyle had a game-winning layup, so they kind of escaped there. But they're turning things around. Your thoughts on them?
I don't understand how you let Josh get a game-winning layup as the smallest player on their team. Like, me from history of refereeing the Crusaders back to H2O, knowing them for hard fouls, if anything, I'd make him beat me at the free throw line. But, I mean, with the Crusaders scrapping to get in the playoffs with 3 wins, I think right now at 3-4, they need every win, especially with a non-convincing win over the Red Devils 4-on-5 in OT. That's going to weigh their votes pretty low in the committee.
Yeah, and then the games tonight, the Blazers played off constantly, and they're rolling. They're now 5-2. They've beaten the Avengers, Callahan Auto Parts, and off constantly in the past few weeks, and they're looking good.
Yeah, I would say they're probably one of the hotter teams in Fridley, ready to go straight into the playoffs. Who do they have next week?
I think they have an easy game.
So they're going to roll into the playoffs feeling good with MVP Jake. I feel like they're going to be a tough team to beat maybe in the play-in games if they're 6-2.
I don't think they'll be in the play.
6-2 they have a bye, but I would say it's going to be tough coming out to playing games on Bloomington and then coming here to try to beat them in their home court. So.
And then the Bulls, you thought they just added Rod Powell so that he could play in the national tournament, but he showed up tonight and played. Do you think he'll play the rest of the season?
I'm pretty sure that's their offense. So now you bring in who's been a top 5 player in Fridley every season he plays. And I would say, especially him and Marcus battle when they were both in here consistently. But bringing him, adding him to that defensive team on the Bulls, that's going to spark them right up, especially out here in Fridley.
He rebounds well. He's athletic, so
all-around player. Yep. And unselfish. Yep.
On to the bad. The Muskies started out 5-0, even though that there was, they could have been 6-0. Lost a close one to the Guerrillas. But they lost last night to Miller time. I think they lost by 20. It was like 54 to 70 something. I think they had 19 turnovers. They were without. I think they were without Andy. Can't pronounce his last name.
I don't even.
But I think he's their best player, and I think they need him. But still, 20 points, 15, 16, however many turnovers they had, they're just not looking good, and they've dropped their last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean that's no excuse to play the number 1 team to the toughest. But I mean, you should know your players, and given that those are your top 2, you know you got to change your style of play. And I know Junior's from playing open, and here he knows the game to where he should have been able to adjust and at least slow it down, because Miller Time was just going to try to run and beat them since they had their best perimeter defender gone and then their best knockdown open shooter. So,
and then we got your Celtics. You guys have also dropped your past 2 games, and last week was the real ugly one. You lost by 31 to Malice. What's up with the Celtics?
I don't. If there was record lows on the website, we probably said it. Shooting 31%, making 18 shots as a team out of 63 or so. That was terrible. And then tonight, we lost Garland in the first 6 minutes of the game. Played Iron 5 against the Avengers, who Greg played the first 6 minutes and sat the rest of the game, so it was no excuse. We were both tired. We came out halftime down 7, I believe, and battled back. Chris was on fire. Couldn't do anything. He was making contested jump shots. You can't play it any better than that. We just lost it at the end.
So on to the ugly, and I don't think I've ever seen a Rebels game like this so lopsided. The Rebels last night lose to the Guerrillas 38 to 85. If I were to tell anybody that the Rebels lost the Guerrillas 38-85, I think everybody would think, I was lying. They shot. You were just talking about the Celtics shooting bad. They shot 31% from the field, and I think they were like 2 for 20 from deep. I think that's probably the Rebels' worst loss. Period. Right?
Yes, I mean, giving them 2 for 20 from 3, I could expect that with their shooters being Motska, who's just now back, and Cody Hines. Eppo doesn't shoot as much as he used to, so going 2 for 20, trying to battle back down 20. I mean, I understand that. I mean, they're a defensive team. I wouldn't expect them to give up 85 points, more or less, than them score 38. I could see that. I've seen them beat a team 45 to 30 something. That's not surprising, but the fact that they gave up 85 is the more surprising factor. And I saw Billy early in the game just crashing boards, getting second chance buckets, so that definitely helped the Guerrillas pick up that win.
So back to my original, the good. Are the 7-0 Guerrillas that good, or was it just an off game for the Rebels?
After letting the Muskies beat them on camera, but I would say it was a good rebound win. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Muskies game was a reality check for them. And, I mean, for them going against the Rebels every season, that's always a up-and-down game. So they got the best of the Rebels this game. Guerrillas #1 seed. Izzy probably doesn't like it. Now he has to pick against his team in the Final Four. So, best of luck. #1 seed is not always the best seed.
You got a bonus to the ugly, right?
Yeah. So the good was the Timberwolves getting the #1 draft pick. The ugly is the Timberwolves getting the #1 draft pick. So our history of drafting is terrible. So I feel like with #1, it doesn't matter who we take. We could take Okafor or we could take Towns. Whoever we take is either going to bust, or we'll take him and we'll trade him away for, like, we'll take Kobe. We'll trade him for Kobe, and Kobe's gonna retire next year. That's what Minnesota teams do. We take people that's washed up or is done down to their final years, or we'll do something I can see. We'll take Okafor, and then we'll try to use our 2 second-round picks and trade up to get Tyus as a hometown, or Rashad Vaughn. I could see that. like just to get fans in the seats. And with Okafor, if you go up and get ties, you get 2 Duke teammates. They would think that would work and mesh better. But Timberwolves' history is not looking good. Our last good pick was KG that I rely on in 95.
We've had some good picks. We just traded them all away. Lawson, Parsons.
Yeah, we pick them. We don't keep them. I mean, Ray Allen.
Not picking Steph Curry is still the one that.
Okay, I have no idea. I had full confidence in Flip Saunders when we took him as a general manager. And then when he re-signed Ricky Rubio to $55 million, he lost all my faith. Like, I was riding with him until that happened. Like, KG comes back, you get the ticket sales back up, but why? Rubio can't score. Rubio would not be an MVP in Minnesota Rec.
Rubio would be in my opinion, Rubio would be a good guy coming off the bench. He plays good defense and he's a good distributor, but he's not. In the West, you need to score. Huh?
He plays good passing lane defense. He cannot stay in front of any point guards in the West.
So if you're the Wolves, who are you taking number 1?
I'll take Okafor because Wiggins is too passive and not. He's more nonchalant. He doesn't have killer instinct. So you need somebody who, when Wiggins is passing up those shots, that actually wants those shots. Given we could use some defense with Towns, but we need somebody to go to and is solid and get a bucket. Peck plays 15 games a season. He's still playing on Russia's schedule where they only play 30 games a year. So it's not like we can't take Okafor and then sit Peck and say, hey, now if you want to sit out, sit out. We got our guy. You come in and fill in, give him a break.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm leaning towards Towns because I think he fits better with, he's more of a stretch guy instead of a guy who's going to clog up the lane with Wiggins. But the only thing, you take a big guy, you take one of those 2 guys, you don't even think about a guard or anybody else. You gotta take a big guy. So as long as they take one of the 2, I'll be happy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Timberwolves history will take Comiskey first, just because. Well, everybody's like, oh, Towns or Okafor, and then all of a sudden Timberwolves pick Comiskey out of Wisconsin. It wouldn't shock me at all. Like, yeah, we'll take somebody that just throw everybody crazy, and the Lakers will be just washing their hands, ready for whoever we leave.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. That's it for us.
Way to turn up again, fellas. Way to turn up again. 7:30 next week. Let's get it.